And let me go ahead and share my screen. We'll get that course up. And let's have your questions.
Yeah, I have a question. I have
Okay.
a few discussions that were not graded, 3 of them.
Right.
And then my captioning 2.7, I haven't gotten a grade on, but I've got everything else done.
But you've submitted it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're good as long as you have everything submitted by tonight, by midnight.
Well, on the
fine.
discussions, where do I submit the discussions? Maybe I didn't do it right. Maybe that was the problem.
You just post. You just post to the discussion forums. There's no submission.
Okay, do I post it on this training, or because I get emails from all these teachers?
Yes, the discussions are all done in the training course because you can post without being an instructor. The only things that are done in your practice course are things that require you to have instructor access, like creating assignments and modules and grading and things like that. So as long as you posted to those discussions, you're fine. And if for any reason what you did needs improvement, you will have a chance to do that after tonight.
Okay.
The only people who are getting cut off tonight are those who have not submitted everything. So if you've submitted everything and participated in all the discussions, the graded discussions, you're fine. You'll be able to fix anything that needs to be fixed after you get your grades. I know a lot of you haven't gotten your grades on a lot of the things you've submitted yet because of the tremendous crush of grading, but you will have a chance to resubmit if you need to get a higher grade, to get over the threshold of 90%.
Okay, on those discussions, some of those were from last summer, last year, and last fall. Are those the ones I'm supposed to respond to?
Yeah, because the cohort ran for a year. And you can respond to anything. And there are posts in there from last July.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of the course. And you can still reply to them. People still go back in and check from time to time. And everyone sees all of the posts and so on. So that there's, even if the people who made those posts initially are not still checking, other people will see them. It's, again, what we're primarily trying to do is make sure you're familiar with the environment, with how the discussions work, and how they figure into the pedagogy of the course.
And then I had a question on 7.0. I got a T. I know that's text, the 7.0.
That means that you have submitted a text entry. Let me look at that one again just to make sure I'm not, everybody knows what we're talking about. Here we go. Whoop. 7.0, a view of regulations. That is just a page.
Yeah. And then 7.1.
7.1 is the certification statement, and that's actually a quiz. So you should have that's just a series of statements, basically averring that you're going to do certain things, and some information collection for future. But generally there are no right or wrong answers or anything like that. We're just looking for information. There are a few places where we're looking for more specific things, like your drop policy. We want to make sure that you understand that what last date of attendance means in an online course, and how to find out about it, and what do you do before, what's your process for dropping a student. That's your business, of course, but it has to jive with Title V regulations and distance education guidelines and so on. So we want to make sure of that. We may ask you to revisit that or something like that, but most of this we just, is just data for us. But we do insist that you complete it before you get your certification. And if there's a problem, if you submitted it, you're fine. If there's a problem with it, you'll be able to correct it. You'll have at least a couple of weeks after you get your grades to take care of that.
Dave,
oh, yes.
I was going to say on that same 7.1, if you click on it, on mine it says, it says it, one attempt or whatever, quiz results are protected. You can't see the answers, but then it says score 0 out of 0 with the asterisk saying that it's
0 out of 0 is the correct grade. If you've answered something, you get a 0. If you didn't answer it, there's no grade.
Okay.
So if we see no grade, then we know you didn't do it. It's just a check off.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed
there is no grade on this one.
Okay, good. Yeah, I noticed on the other ones, if they're interested, like on those discussions, if you click on the discussion, it takes you to what you put in. So it shows that at least you put something in, correct?
In your grades, right? In your grades tool.
Yes, in the grades.
If you click on your grade for the discussion, you can see what you posted without having to go through the whole thing. And of course, in the grading interface, that's what we see. We see your posts, so we don't have to go through and look at everybody else's. And we're just looking to see that you've met the minimum requirements on that.
Great, thank you.
Am I the only one who had trouble with using Safari?
What specifically did you have trouble with?
URL, and I posted a bunch of stuff, and I didn't have the complete, because it doesn't show in Safari. You have to click on it to get the whole deal.
To get the entire URL. Yeah, that is inconvenient.
So I thought I was submitting all these things, and I had to go back and do them. Is that
because they were incomplete?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apple is trying to protect you from knowing anything.
Yeah.
Not one of my favorite operations, but you were able to get them.
Yes, but my question is, a couple of them, when I go to the grades, they don't show anything. They show the community college district logo. They don't show what I did. I guess I should go back and resubmit them just for the hell of it, make sure by tonight.
Well, it couldn't hurt, but let's see. I can check real quick. And while I'm waiting on the gradebook to load, does somebody else have another question?
Yeah, I do on the videos. I thought they were really good, but he was using a previous, I don't know what you call it, but it didn't look like the same look that we have. So it's like did they up? Do we have an upgrade?
Our only requirement is that it be a video that you created. It's not something.
No, I mean all the videos that I watched. In all of these, I'm supposed to watch him do it. I'm supposed to watch him do this. But he had an older version, right?
Some of them may have been reused, yeah, because some of it hasn't changed from earlier versions of the course, and other people may have created those. I may have created some of them.
Some of them are kind of difficult.
Yeah, in fact, I had trouble finding one. It was called Become a Module Mogul, because I'm in the process of finishing 6.3.
One of the supplementary videos, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. So I just started the things I want to make sure I don't want it to.
You mean you clicked on the link and it didn't play for you?
No, when I watched when I watched the other video, the module creation and management video, and then it mentioned that there was one called Become a Module Mogul, and I couldn't find it, but I said, well, I'm running out of time, so I just started working on the 6.3.
Yeah, it's not there. It wasn't there when I looked.
Okay, so you can find.
Okay, that's an error in the course then.
Okay.
There are a few of those.
Yeah, they do creep in from time to time because people take videos down and we're not aware of it. Some of those are not our videos. They're videos that we're using that were publicly posted on the web. And we always appreciate if you see that, we always appreciate a heads up on that. Thank you.
Okay, well, heads up, because I don't know if that's why, because it said to use the sample outline we have and turn it into a module. And I know how to create a module. So I create a module exactly the way I plan to use it next semester.
That's fine.
But if my modules include going to Zoom or doing a file, you have to put a file in. And I just had one sample file, but it kept turning to the wrong number. So I had to make copies of, I just wrote like for the PowerPoint, instead of read, but can I just change where I said PowerPoint and it would go to a PowerPoint? I just made like a sample 1-page PowerPoint.
Yeah, we're primarily interested that you know how to create a module.
Okay,
you don't have to use our style.
Okay,
That's up
so
to you.
Can I change the ones that I had done originally, just change it from PowerPoint to just put in read? That way I can just make it a text.
Sure.
Okay, just knowing how to do it. I don't have to do the exact thing.
Having that information that we just clarified early in the course would have been pivotal for me. Following the structure that I felt was mandated while currently teaching became such a struggle because I had to convert everything to my everyday experiences in order to serve the students. So if the next course could let people know that there is that flexibility to be able to implement your own structure, that would be a huge improvement.
Yeah,
I think.
we've had that discussion. Yeah.
And also Kathy will need to say that 7.1 when she fills out her suggestions for the Canvas people, she needs to say that she had trouble finding this and that and this and that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7.1, you have a chance to give them suggestions.
Yes, you do. Okay. Let's see, Carl, I just looked at your graded discussion where you created a discussion in 6.8 assignment. Looks fine, and the link worked, everything. So
they're all submitted though, right? Even I got the right
URL. Yes, indeed, everything's submitted.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very, very much.
You bet.
So I don't have to.
That's exactly the sort of thing we're here for. Someone else.
So I don't have to finish 6.3. I could just leave it and go to something else. Is that what you're saying? You just want to see that you know how. This is Kathy. That you just want. They just want to know that I know how to do it because I had like 12 parts and I'm only up to part 8. That's why I said, oh, it's 10 o'clock. I gotta hurry. So I could just leave that and I don't have to have the exact thing that I said I was going to do in 4.3. You just want to know I know how to do the basics.
Well, wait a minute. Let me go to that and take a look. I don't want to misinform you. Okay, your question is about 4.3, you said?
No, 6.3.
6.3.
That's what I'm in the process of finishing.
Create a module.
Creating a module. And so I'm
right. You've already created a module outline in 4.8, just a text document.
Right.
Your module should mirror that outline from 4.8, but it should be actual module entries and not just a bunch of text.
Oh, that's what I was worried about because I wrote PowerPoint, and so I thought I had to create at least a sample PowerPoint. But I was thinking,
well, to put a file entry in, yes, you would. So just something that you happen to have laying around or whatever would be fine.
Oh, okay, like any samples.
As long as the entries are there and they're arranged properly and it's a working module, you're fine.
Okay, so when it says file, it has to go to a file. But when it says Zoom, I put in my.
You can't really put it in unless if it's a file link. You can't really put it into the module unless there's a file associated with it. So just use some file that's handy. Don't worry about it.
Okay, but it does have to be the way I mirror.
Yes, it does have to correspond to the outline that you created in 4.8.
No, I can't change it to make it simpler.
Nope. That's what they want.
Okay.
And yeah, let's just leave it at that. Okay, anybody else?
If you have
Get as many of these dealt with as possible.
I have a question.
Oh. Okay,
if you have all of the modules saying complete all items and it's checked off, that means that you're done?
That's the same
Yes,
question.
if you've submitted all the assignments, you're done.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
And Jacqueline was trying to speak. Yes.
Yes, I have the same question. If everything is done, then we're okay. There's no extra steps that we have to take.
No, you're good. You may, when you get your grades, you may have to go back and resubmit something, or you may want to if you're one of those folks who can't stand to have points taken off. You and most of us wouldn't be in this profession if we didn't fall into that category. But you'll have an opportunity to do that after you get your grades.
You know, it's
So
not
as
the
long as
points
everything
taken, not
is
the points
submitted.
taken off, right?
I'm sorry?
It's not the points being taken off that is the obstacle. It's the looming possibility of having to retake the course. That is a tremendous pressure.
And as long as you
what
have
we're worried
everything,
about.
right, but as long as you have everything submitted, you won't have to retake the course.
Yes.
You may have to resubmit some assignments to get enough credit to pass, but you won't have to retake the course. And let's deal with that anxiety right now too. In the worst case scenario, if something happens and you were to have to go and move into the next cohort of the course, you won't have to redo the entire course.
I have
Everything
to say,
you've done,
I will not be able to do that. I will not have the stamina to do all of this again.
It would be a relatively minor thing. It might cost you an extra hour or two, but you already have done all of that. You've done all the reading. You've created the video. You have you've posted to the discussion forums. You've submitted assignments. You've done a lot of work in your training course, in your practice course, excuse me. And your practice course is not going anywhere. It will still be there. If you were to have to move into the next cohort, you'd use the same practice course, and everything you've done in there would still be there, and you wouldn't have to do it again. You might have to resubmit a URL, but that's it. So if you find yourself getting close tonight, and you're not certain you're going to make it in time, don't panic. Just make a copy of everything that you have submitted, like your discussion posts. Go in and copy and paste those into a Word document so you have the text, so you won't have to retype it. Any files that you've submitted, make sure you still know where they are and that you can get to them. And worst case scenario, if you were to have to start again in the new course, you just go through and very quickly insert those things that you've saved and send the URLs again. It would take, like I say, an hour or two at the outside to catch up to where you were in the course now. So it's not like you're going to have to spend another 40, 50 hours on it or something like that. It's not the end of the world if you have to move.
Dr. Dave?
But as long as you have submitted everything, you're fine. So there's nothing to worry. If you're not certain about that, let me know and I'll check. Yes, Yusra.
Yes, two things, please. Question is it 6.12?
Okay.
It's about Speedgrader.
Right.
I did it, but I'm not sure. And the other one is 6.9 about the calendar.
Right.
I'm not sure
as long
if
as
I
you
did
have
it right.
created, have you submitted both of those?
Oh, yes, I did, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if the right one.
Well, with a calendar item, basically all you do is go to your calendar. And
I did it before, but I'm not, it wasn't right.
Whoops. Something happened there. Sorry. Okay. Basically, you're just going to go to the calendar and create a manually created calendar item. And, you know, you go to your calendar. The calendar is universal. That is, it covers all of your courses.
Okay, I did some.
Here's the plus sign to create a new event.
Okay.
And you're asked to create an event, though you can also create a link to an assignment or an appointment group. But basically, my event, set a date. Tomorrow is fine. Today is fine. From 10 a.m. And unfortunately, I don't think it gives you you have to type the time in, which is kind of aggravating. 12 a.m. location, Zoom. And I wanted to go in my calendar. I have access to others because of my administrative status. And then submit. And there's your event.
I did
and then,
those.
Pardon?
I did something like this for staff development for August. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah, just make sure. And then, of course, you're asked to, I think you asked to grab that URL. And this is where Carl was saying he was having trouble with Safari. It doesn't show the full URL, which is another great idea from the fruit company, I guess. Sorry, I have a long history with Apple. It's not pretty. Once we have that, you just then submit that in the assignment, I believe. Let me verify that.
David, question. David,
yes.
Question. David Ted Kagan, are you saying that if I left off at 6.3, I don't need to start all over again? I could just start at 6.3. Is that what you're saying?
In a manner of speaking, you would have to go back in and submit the assignments again, but you wouldn't have to do the work again. The work is done. You have your practice course is going to be right where it was. You're not going to get a new blank practice course. So that everything you've done in that practice course will still be there. So all you have to do is resubmit those URLs or resubmit a file, which hopefully you still have on your computer. You want to make sure you do. You can download your submissions from the existing course if you need to. And the main thing I'd watch, the main thing you might miss are the discussion posts that you've made.
Hi, Marie. How are you?
And those you need to copy and paste into a Word document or something like that, so that you don't have to redo those.
Canvas.
But like I say, you might lose an hour or two if you don't finish it tonight. You have to go into the new course. An hour or two where you have to paste your discussion entries in again and submit some files, maybe take a few quizzes. You can even take screenshots of the quizzes that you've taken so you remember what you answered. But you'll remember that information. You've been through, you've done all the reading, we've watched the videos and things like that. You won't have to do that again, in all probability. All you'll have to do is resubmit the things that you've done. So if you're well short of finishing right now, I probably just wouldn't worry about it. And I just make sure I had copies of everything I'd submitted. and then just send in a request to be enrolled in the new cohort, and then just go in and put those things back in quickly, and then pick up where you left off and move forward. The course will not change dramatically. So it's just not going to be the end of the world if you have to go into the new cohort. It's not like you're going to have to spend all that time again that you've already put in.
Did you say you had to take the quizzes again?
Yeah, you would have to take the quizzes again.
Oh, but it would be better to just fail it now and then I have 2 weeks to redo it. That sounds easier to me.
The easiest thing is the quizzes.
If you take the quizzes now, be sure, and you're planning on, and you're planning on finishing in this term, I would not take the quiz twice. I'd preserve my second attempt for later consideration. You could tree the first one, and then you'd be down to one chance, but you'd have a chance to improve your score on the quiz later.
Okay. I finished everything and submitted everything about a week ago, and I'm wondering how long we should wait before we get a certificate.
That's hard to say. I'm sure they will. If like a dean needs to know if you finish the course or something like that, I'm sure they'll accommodate that. But in terms of actually getting your certificate, I honestly don't know, because there are 1,040 people or so in that course right now.
I finished.
And it's going to take them some time to finish all that grading.
Yeah,
but I can assure you,
course back in June 6th, and it's still not. I still have discussions that weren't graded, and some other things.
I know.
Yeah, I was done in the middle of May, and I still have stuff not.
Oh,
wow.
Okay, so we feel better then.
But that is, and that, they've.
Oh no.
It's taken them time to get extra people who are qualified to grade in the course. So, and to be able to pay them. They couldn't free up some of the money until the new fiscal year tomorrow. So there are a bunch of new graders coming on. But it's been difficult. But they will get it done, and you will be fine as long as you have everything submitted by tonight.
Okay.
Let's see. Now, what were we looking at?
The Speedgrader.
Yeah, my 7th
grader.
Right, the Speedgrader.
Please.
That one, the trick with this one, with this assignment, is that you have to use your test student, your student view, in order to actually submit the assignment that you created in, I think, 6.11.
Yes, I redid it. I hope this time is the right. This is maybe my 4th time.
And the trick is, of course, you have to pull that assignment, that submission up in the Speedgrader, and then you have to take a screenshot of it, because it's the only way you can show us that you actually used the Speedgrader to grade that and didn't just type the number into the gradebook. And the thing that is stopping a lot of people, or is delaying a lot of people, is the screenshot. But and I can't use the test student in the training course here to illustrate this, because that student doesn't have access to all the modules. It hasn't gone through all the modules and opened them up. So I'd have to show you this in another course. Let me just pick up something here.
Okay.
A demo course. So first thing you've got to do is submit the assignment that you already created in the previous activity as your test student. You do that by going to your home link, and you click Student View in the task menu on the right. you go to the modules in your training course and you find, in your practice course, excuse me, you're working in your practice course here. You go to your assignments in your modules, find an assignment. I must not have some of those published. Well, that was a bad choice for a course, excuse me. Yep.
You use the assignment that they put in the modules, because there was like a sample word that said assignment and group project, but nothing was clicked to it. There was nothing assigned to it when you try clicking onto it.
Right, right. But no, you'll be working in your practice course to do.
Oh, so it has to be like
so you have created an assignment in your practice course. And that's the one you'll submit as your test student. Let me see if I've got it.
In the practice one that was created by the sample module, the demo module.
No, you're going to be, you in 6.11, you will have created a homework assignment.
Okay. No, I said.
That's the assignment you will submit.
Okay.
Okay. I think this one's accessible. Shoot. Let me see here. Things are expiring on me in this course because we're toward the end of the month here. I've got to fix that. Let me fix that. This is not something you'll have to do. I just need to get that assignment to the point where it's accessible to a student. Yep. June 24th. Let's fix that so it's not going to expire right away. All right, now go back. You're in your practice course where you have instructor rights. You go to the student view on the home screen. Go to the module that you've created in a previous assignment. This all builds on itself. Find the assignment that you just created in 6.11. Of course, this means you have to have done 6.11 before you do this one. And it's still not letting me submit it. Why is that? Let me see if the course has expired. Nope.
Wasn't that June 12th?
That was the start date, not the end date. Oh, that's a wrong one. Sorry. There, that's the one I want. It's published. It's not locked out. Students have all, oh, did I set this as a group assignment? No. Due June 24th. Let's change that. That shouldn't matter, but we'll change that anyway. And July 31st, save. Okay. And it's published. I should be able to see that as my test student. Let's try it. Or I should be able to submit it as my test student. Go to the module. Ah, there we go. I've submitted it before. Your button will just say submit assignment. The student submitted this one before. So then you just go in and submit something to that assignment. And what you submit depends upon how you created the assignment, whether you created it as a website URL submission or a file upload or a text entry submission. If it's a file upload, which is the most likely one, you just find a document, Doesn't really matter what you submit. It would be better if you submitted a Word document. So let's just find a Word document here of some sort and submit it. Oh, and I put a submission pledge in there. So. All right, it's submitted. So there's something waiting there for you to grade in your practice course. To do that, you go to your gradebook and you find that, I'm sorry, I have to be, I have to leave student view to do that, of course, and go to the gradebook. There we are. And here's my test student, and there's my submission. If I click on the icon that indicates that it's been submitted and click the right arrow and bring up the Speedgrader over here in the slide out panel on the right. Let me move that over a little bit so you can see it better. Okay, there's a there's a calendar page in Word. Fine. Doesn't matter what's submitted. But what you have to do here is you have to provide a comment. And a grade. And submit it. Now, to illustrate that you have used the Speedgrader, you have to make a screenshot of this. Exactly how you do that depends upon the nature of the computer that you're using. If you're using a Windows computer, probably the easiest way to do it is the Snipping Tool, which is a screenshot tool that's built into the operating system. Just go to your search box down here at the bottom of the screen and type snip, and the snipping tool will show up in your menu. Just double click that to run it, or click on it in this case. Then you get a your snipping tool, whoops, and it just minimized everything. Let me bring that back up, there we go. You take a new snip, a new screenshot. Your screen kind of goes pale like that, and your mouse cursor turns into a plus sign. This is a selection cursor. You go to the upper left-hand corner of the area that you want to take a screenshot of and click and hold the mouse button, the left mouse button on a PC. And then drag down into the lower right, and the screen will light up, highlighting what you're trying to take a screenshot of. When you let up on the mouse button, the screenshot's taken and it's available. You can save that file from the File menu in the Snipping tool, Save As, and save it somewhere on your hard drive where you'll be able to find it. And it's probably best to change the name so it's a little bit easier to find. This is 6.12 screenshot. Save it. Now you're done with the snipping tool. You can close that. And go back to your training course now. And bring up the 6.12 assignment in the module. And I'm in as an instructor, so I can't submit the assignment from here, and the test student in this course doesn't have access to this yet. So what you will do here is you will see a submit button, submit assignment button up here in the upper right, a blue button. You click on that and you upload that file that you just created, the screenshot that you just created, to that assignment Dropbox, and you're done. So that is one of the more involved assignments, actually. It doesn't take very long to do if you know how to do it, but there are a lot of moving parts in that assignment. You have to log it, you have to know to go to Student View, go to your practice course, go to Student View, submit the assignment you just created in the previous activity, then get out of Student View, go to your Gradebook, grade the submission using the Speedgrader, and take a screenshot of the screen before you leave the Speedgrader. So that one, as I say, does have a lot of moving parts, but it's all stuff that you need to know how to do. So
more than 20 commands.
But that's like I say, it's something you're going to have to be doing continuously in an online course. So it's something you have to learn how to do. You spend, unfortunately, as is the case in most instructional modalities, you spend more time grading than doing anything else. So you've got to be familiar with the tools to do it.
Yes. That's the third student I heard talk about that particular module. So it doesn't sound like the instructions are, I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm only on 6.3.
The instructions are basically what I just gave you. The problem is that it does have a lot of moving parts. It's a fairly complex.
Well, you said it was simple, but I'm saying the fact that you're explaining it, but people didn't, it wasn't intuitive for all those people beforehand. That's what I find.
Well, this is one of those things you sometimes have to see more than once, quite frankly, before because you have to get that basic concept down of what you're doing. And until you've done that, it's just, you're just going through the motions of clicking through screens. So you have to understand the process. Okay. And that can take more than one try with that one, I'm afraid. Grading is an inherently more complex activity because you're having to make all sorts of value judgments and so on.
Dave, that's one of the ones I had to do a couple times and resubmitted, and I'm still waiting for a score on. And I wondered, when we have problems with something like that, do we work with the grader to learn how to do it, or is there another resource?
You can always email me and I'll help you with it.
Okay.
But yes,
thanks.
Grader is a good idea too. Or you can send an inbox message to all instructors in the course, and we all see it. Oh. And then whoever sees it first and has a moment can pick it up. So that's probably your best bet, is to send an inbox message to all instructors, and then we'll help you out with it.
Dave, how do you send it? Because I tried contacting 2 other instructors about something, but when I went to your one of your Zoom things, you answered it for me, but I still hadn't heard from them. So when I went to the inbox, like, you can download your classes, but I didn't see anything that said you could download like this certification or anything. So,
well, no, if you're sending an inbox message, you just go and use the compose message tool in your inbox and pick the course that the training course.
I don't remember seeing training.
Oh, the online certification course, the course in which you're enrolled as an instructor, or as a student rather. Let me see if I have that one here. There it is. That's this current one.
By step, I wrote them down.
Okay.
You'll be able to do it.
All right.
Yeah, so you pick that course.
Use your phone and the computer, step by step.
Yeah, write it down step by step. Watch the video 3 times.
You'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You'll do
Indeed.
it.
Repetition is important.
PM. Okay.
But no, what we're trying to show here, though, is how to get help from an instructor in the course.
Okay.
You compose the message, you select the course, you choose the recipients, and you go to teachers, and all in teachers, and there are several instructors in there. So select all in teachers, then put in a subject and describe indicate which one you're having a problem with and give us as much information as you can and send it. And then there are 8 or 10 people at least who will get that message and who can help you. So, and the more people you send it to, the better your chances are of and I'll get it as well. And if no one has answered you before I get there, I will answer it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I
just didn't see that course here because I tried putting in the names of the instructors I knew, and it wasn't working that way.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You have to pick the course that you want to send to, which would of course be your current training course.
What is that remote instruction thing that you have? I love that icon. The tile you have it has nothing to do with anything else, and I'm sorry, but you have a tile that says remote instruction that keeps moving. What is that?
Oh, that's an animated GIF.
Oh.
That the dean has put in there to make that one hard to miss. I really don't recommend you doing that. It will drive your students batty. That thing bugs me every time I see it. And God forbid you find somebody who's got a disorder like epilepsy or something like that. That kind of motion can trigger all sorts of things. So I really don't recommend that. Okay, how about another question?
Dave, I have a question on the 7.1 quiz.
7.1 quiz, okay?
Yeah, 7.1 quiz. It's still showing the little jet taking off, but I'm looking on my other computer screen and it just says some of my questions have not been graded. So I'm assuming I did all of them.
Yeah, in all probability. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Let me pull this off screen here so I'm not sharing your stuff with anybody.
Because again, I finished back in middle of May and I still have 3 big assignments.
Yes, I don't doubt it.
That's
not unexpected, unfortunately.
That's cool. But I just wanted to make sure I didn't take a screenshot of the quiz.
Right. No, let me take a look. Again, this takes a minute for it to come up. Does anybody else have something while I'm waiting on that to come up?
Yeah, can you look up ours, each one of ours, and see that we're okay?
Yes, I will be happy to. I'll have to do it obviously one at a time, but I can do that. And once I get into a certain level, I don't have to wait quite as long for it to reload.
I checked on the other ones that had not been graded, and I see it. It's there, so I'm
right.
confident.
But you don't have the feedback set on that one, so you can't see it. Yeah. So let's take a look and see what you've got in there. Righty, I've got you up. Let me pull up that. Yeah, it's there for sure.
And all the short answers are there.
I'll bring it over here as soon as I get it all. Come on.
It's been so long, I don't remember.
Okay. Here's the Speedgrader coming up. Every time they grade something, they have to wait like this.
Oh, no.
It's one of the reasons it's taking them a while. Because the Canvas courses were not supposed to get this. Okay. This was something where you had to type something in, so it hasn't been.
Okay.
When they go through, they would just add a 0 there, just to indicate you've done it. Okay, that looks fine. Fine. Let's see, drop policy.
That's just what I have in my syllabus.
Yeah, and this you may get a request on to redo, because this applies to a face-to-face class, not an online class.
Okay.
Your official drop policy would be recommended is something like if a student doesn't participate in the course for some period of time that you determine, that you will drop them.
Okay.
That
I can redo the quiz.
last date of attendance is governed by the last time, or is set generally, or is understood to be the last time the student submitted something in the course.
Okay.
So you may have to redo that, but
Okay.
you'll have a chance to do.
Should we?
I'll have a chance. Okay.
Hi, this is Walker. I'm like Luann. Should we wait for them to respond to redo it, or?
Oh, you could do it. You could redo it right now if you wanted to.
Okay.
If you know that you have that issue, it's probably worth going ahead and resubmitting that.
Okay.
I believe they've allowed you to resubmit it. I'll check and
Yes,
make sure.
they have. They have.
Oh, good.
Okay. And it does
Okay,
say.
yeah, this is all, as long as there's a 0 there, it's fine.
Okay.
This one, 15, it's kind of support.
15 questions.
That looks fine. And the certification statement, yep.
Well, what if it says some questions are not yet graded? What does that mean?
It means what I'm doing right now, looking at the questions where you have to type something in, the essay questions, and I'm grading them. I'm putting, by grading, I'm indicating that you've done it by putting a 0. The only one I haven't done is the one that we just talked about.
Now, if I have to retake the test, do I have to retype all those other things? Because I don't.
No. You just redo the ones that.
That one section.
So you start off saying take the quiz again, and everything else will be already in there.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
that was, maybe I better not say that. That was always my policy. When I was grading this thing, I'd just say, resubmit it with that question answered, and I'll give you credit for it. I don't know.
Maybe I better wait because I don't want to.
Yeah, you might want to wait until you get the actual instructions for it, because it depends on who's grading it.
Right, I'll do the same thing then.
But anyway.
Thank you.
So.
Because you said you could only do
most of that now is graded, so that's the only one I saw a problem with.
Thank you.
Did somebody else have something they wanted me to check?
Is that the kind of thing that you said that you can only do it twice? So only do it once and then?
No, the graded quizzes you can only take twice. This one you can submit as many times as you need to.
Okay, good.
Hopefully not more than twice. But.
I'm sorry, I got a little lost. These quizzes that you were displaying, was this for like the students, or was this like for us who are taking the course?
That was what's called the certification statement. It's the last quiz in the course, in the training course.
Okay. Could I see one more time where you went for that page?
Grades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if I may. Thank you so much.
Can you see mine, please?
Yeah, while I'm in the grade book, let me check USERS because it'll take me time to get back in here.
Thank you.
And I have and then I'll show you. Well, actually, you'll be able to see the quiz as I bring up USERS submission. You'll see what the quiz looks like.
Okay.
It's in the form of a quiz, but it's really just a series of, it's more like a survey, really. It's a series of information collection activity. Mm-hmm. And there are places where you have to aver that you're going to abide by certain policies and so on. And that, quite frankly, is we're covering ourselves in case somebody, an accreditation team comes in 2 years, 3 years from now and decides to review your online course. And there's something in it that's not according to accreditation standards. We want to be able to go back and say that, look, he or she said they would abide by that policy, and they knew about it because they had to answer these questions. So we will have documentary evidence that you said you would do that. and I'm just being as frank and honest as I can about this. We're covering ourselves in case of accreditation questions. We can demonstrate at least that we did train properly. Okay, that one looks fine. Again, the things like how often to use discussion forums. And don't worry about these correct and incorrect answers. Those are random.
Oh,
as long as you've answered it, you're fine.
You don't get negative points.
And the only grade you can get is a 0. So don't worry about that. A drop policy. Do not participate for 2 weeks. The contact, yep. Let's see. How will you meet last, except that you didn't address the last date of attendance, which is, the answer is, it's the last date someone submitted something. So they'll probably ask you to put that in there. So I'm not going to sign off on that one yet.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of red.
No, don't worry about the red.
Oh,
that means nothing.
Okay.
It means nothing.
Okay.
What kind of support? I don't know whether they'll buy that or not. I'm not sure what I need. You may have to be a little more specific there. But and here, this is the real critical thing right here. You state that everything is, everything you said is true, and you're willing to make your best efforts to comply with distance education guidelines.
Okay.
So this is a legal, and we, of course, will keep that indefinitely. Okay, so that you're fine. I mean, you may have to redo a couple of those questions, but otherwise you're fine.
You don't get negative points.
You don't get any points.
I don't think there's any points.
You get negative points if you miss something.
No. There's no. This effect does not affect your grade at all. It's just something you have to complete before they'll certify. Before they'll verify your certification.
Okay.
Oh, is that a list of our names there? Is that a list of our names?
Oops, I shouldn't share that. That's the grade book. And you don't want to see what the rest of that grade book looks like. My God, it's this, like I say, there's 1,000 and some people in there. Okay, more questions.
So then on that grade book, can you look at that line for me?
Sure. Be happy to do that for anybody.
As long as you have it up.
Dave, how many's in the next class?
So far, there are between 200 and 300 people in there already.
Wow.
Well, this is what happens when you go from having about a third. Yes.
Is on my inbox, I'm getting all these other teachers. How can I stop doing that? I don't want to get those anymore.
Please. Yes.
Oh, you're getting, Canvas is getting chatty with you, is it? I'll show you that.
Yeah, I get all of them.
Just a second. All right, but let's check. You wanted me to check your certification statement, or just check to see that you've submitted everything?
Yeah, that they show me that I submitted.
Yes, everything's there, including the certification statement. You're good. Anybody else need me to check that before I move to notifications?
Walker. Ella Walker.
Hi, Ella.
How you doing, sir?
It's easier to do it right now because I already have it up. I won't have to wait for it to load. So let's get all those out of the way while we're here. Yep, you're good. Anybody else?
Mr. Giverson?
Yes, sir.
I was wondering if I show up on your list. I don't think I have anything right now, but I was wondering if I show up on your list.
No, you're not. I'm in the current, the 1920 certification course. You'll be in the new one, I'm presuming.
Okay. So do I did sign up like during this last round, but I wasn't sure where to proceed. So I guess I don't show up in this. Do I send an email to somebody so I have access to my Canvas?
There's a form, an online form you need to fill out to get enrolled in the 2020, 2021 cohort for the certification course, and I'll show you that in a minute too.
All right. Thank you very much.
Isn't there orientation next week, Dave? July 7?
Yes.
Orientation?
Yeah, it's going to be very much like what we're doing right now. So
yeah,
only
so
it'll
maybe
focus on the new course. Yeah, I'll be there for that one. Anybody else want me to check their submissions? Everybody else?
Yes. Kathy?
Kathy?
Yeah. But like I said, I'm still, I had to stop on 6.3 because I wanted to make sure I showed up for this. So I might turn in some incomplete things in the 6th module.
You'll be fine. Just watch the videos, Kathy, and take step-by-step notes. You'll be fine.
Thank you.
That's a
and
very
I did
good
it like
suggestion.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah, Kathy, it looks like you have 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, 6.8, 9, 6.9, 6.11, 6.12, and 6.14 yet to do. Okay, everything else, and the certification statement, everything else appears to be fine.
Kathy, I agree with Kenya. Take good notes. Take good notes.
Yeah.
And at this point, Kathy, you're at you're in the high 90s on grades. So if you continue at that level of achievement, you will be fine.
Dave, could you, while you're in there, look at the 3 that have not been graded for me yet, just to confirm that they are there?
Absolutely.
Please.
Wasting my time.
4.7.
There you are.
6.9. Yeah, 4.7, 6.8, and 6.9 are not graded yet.
Yeah, 6.8 and 6.9 are submitted though.
Okay.
And
how about
6.14 has not been graded either. Or if it has, you've resubmitted, one of the two. Anyway, there's a submission there.
Yeah.
And 4.7 is submitted. So, and the certification statement is submitted. You're good. You're not missing anything. And you're also in the high 90s so far. So, nice job. Anybody else before I move on to take care of these other issues?
Dave, if you don't finish today and you're almost done with, say, 6, what happens to all that work? Because you obviously have to enroll in another class. Does that go down the drain, or?
Oh, no. There are 2 types of activities that you've done. In some cases, you've either typed in discussion posts or submitted files. Those you want to make sure you preserve if you think you're going to have to go into the next cohort without finishing this one. Just go in and copy and paste those into a Word document or someplace where you can save them, so you don't have to type them again. The stuff that you've done in your practice course, like creating a module and creating assignments and things like that, will still be in your practice course. And your practice course will be the same one for the new cohorts. You don't get a new blank practice course. You'll just continue using the one you've started in this year's course. So all of that will be there. The only thing you'll have to do is resubmit the things that you have already finished in this current course. you'll have to go in and you'd have to paste your discussion posts that you did into the new shell and submit those. If you'd submitted files, you'd resubmit those. If you've submitted URLs for or links for things that you've done in Module 6, you'll have to resubmit the URLs, but the work is already done in the practice course. So probably you're going to lose an hour or two of repeat work, but by no means are you going to lose everything that you've done.
Okay, the next question I have is this.
Yeah, I understand. Because is it worth staying up all night over? No, probably not.
Well, I had a trip.
Just make sure you've preserved everything you've done so far. And if you have any questions about that, get in touch with me. I'll be watching my email carefully today. I do have an eye appointment at 1 o'clock, and they're going to dilate my eyes, so I'm going to be out of action from about 1 o'clock to about 5 o'clock until I can see again. But I will check this evening, and if you're not certain about whether you've been able to save something or something like that, just let me know and I'll help you. For that matter, I can pull it out later too. I'll still have access to the previous course. So
well,
we'll fix it. We don't want you to have to redo any of that work.
Well, dear God, I hope not. But the development shell, I'm having trouble finding directly because there is no box on my my screen with all my other classes.
Ah, okay. So you kind of like to clean up your dashboard a little bit.
Correct. I need it on my dashboard.
Okay.
So that
all right. So I've got notifications. I'm just making some notes for myself here. Notifications, enrollment link for the new course, and dashboard management, and finding your training course. Okay, or your practice course. All righty. Let me jump out of the Gradebook here then, and back to my dashboard, and let's get some of that done. Notifications. If Canvas is sending you way more emails than you want, you can control what it sends you and what triggers it by going to your account link in your global access menu, this gray bar on the left on every Canvas screen, and your account link is at the top of that, or near the top of it. And when you click on that, you get a menu, and you want the notifications link in that menu. You'll probably only have one column over here on the right, which is associated with your email address that you have in your Canvas, that's associated with your Canvas account. This is where Canvas will notify you of certain course activities. And whether Canvas notifies you and how often is something you get to control. First off, these on the left here are all the things that can trigger notifications in Canvas, trigger Canvas sending you an email, like a due date. If a due date changes in your course, this is mainly meant for students. If a due date changes, Canvas sends you a notice to that effect, if you tell it to. If grading policies change, course content is added or removed, files are added to the course, and if an announcement is created in one of your courses, you can arrange to get an email that tells you to go look at that announcement. You can get notified of grading and so on. All right, so these are, and if you want to know what any of these course activities actually involves, just mouse over it and it'll describe it to you.
Okay.
Now, over here in this column, under your email address, you can decide whether you get notified for that particular activity or event. Like if a due date changes, I have myself set to be notified of that. And there are 4 frequencies of notification I can choose. Notify me right now, send the message immediately. Or I can say wait to the end of the day and just send a daily summary. So if there are multiple notifications, I only get one email with multiple notifications in it at the end of each day. Or I can have that sent at the end of each week if it's something that really doesn't need immediate attention. Or I can just say, don't tell me about it. I'll figure it out on my own. So those are your 4 options here for email. Notify me right away, send daily summary, weekly summary, or just don't send me anything about that. So if you don't want to know when grades are done, you just turn that off. And it won't send you any.
That in mine. I can't find the notifications in mine.
It's under your account setting in the gray bar at the left.
Oh,
Click
okay.
on, and then notifications.
Okay.
Boop. There we go. And if you don't want to know when a discussion post is made, just tell it, don't send it to me. Or you can have it send it immediately. This may take some trial and error to see, if you may want some of these notifications, but they may get overwhelming and you may have to tone them down a bit.
I've been deleting them 100 at a time.
Well, better just never have them sent in that event.
Yeah.
So just go in and turn that notification off by clicking the X associated with it.
And what about conversations? Do I need conversations, or is that with my students?
That's your messaging. Okay. So if you want a message sent to you by a student in Canvas to be forwarded to your personal email box, then you want to turn that on and have it sent immediately, or maybe sent once a day or once a week, but probably once a day or immediately. But if you just want to go in and check your messages in Canvas and you don't want those filling up your personal email box, you can turn that off.
What about
that's
alerts?
Probably the biggest one right there.
What about the alerts down at the bottom?
Administrative notifications, like your course is ending, things like that, your training course is ending and things like that. Content link error. If a student clicks on a content link and it doesn't work, Canvas can notify you that happened. So you can catch, you may have mistyped or mispasted a URL in a web link or something, and it may not be working. This will warn you that that's the case. And any global announcements that are posted by administrators, you can choose to see those immediately or not at all. You'll see them when you log into Canvas, but you can choose to have those emailed to you or not, as you prefer. This stuff would be relatively rare, so that's not going to generate many emails. But things like conversations certainly will. On the other hand, that's stuff you need to know as quickly as possible. So it just depends on your tolerance for emails showing up in your account and how urgent you feel they are. Everybody has to make their own decisions on that.
So if
you have the right to do it.
Okay. If we don't want to see the posts made by our 1,000 cohorts, is it the discussion post that we turn off?
Turn that one off.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do right now.
Or set it to a weekly summary or something like that.
Okay, and it's one email then?
One email a week in that case, yes.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, so that's notifications. And not only do you have the right to control your notifications, your students do as well. They control theirs. So you can't assume, for instance, if you send a message to a student in Canvas, you can't be absolutely certain that that message will be forwarded on to their personal email box. They may have turned that off. That notification is generally on by default when a user is created in Canvas, but they can go in and turn it off if they wish. So the chances are pretty good that if you send an inbox message to a student, that they'll also get it in their personal email, but you can't depend on that.
Is there a way to delay? Because I had some, when I was teaching some high school students, they got, and their parents got annoyed because I might send messages out at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And of course that's waking them up. But I didn't realize it was, I thought it just went to their message. I didn't realize that they have little alerts going off, and that was.
Well, I'd say that's something they can control.
Okay.
They can turn off the little chime on their phone that indicates that an email has arrived. That, to me, that falls under the heading of personal responsibility. That's not your fault.
Okay.
So I would worry about that for about a microsecond before moving on.
But I think they turned it off. Like it seems like it's all or nothing, because then they weren't getting important messages from me. So I was looking at what you said.
Yes, it's all or nothing.
So they should have it
either those messages are being forwarded from Canvas or they're not.
Either or.
But that's their decision, and you can't affect that. So there's no point.
But if they set it at daily, it still would come as soon as I sent it, is what you're saying?
Like no, they control that. If they, yeah, right. There's no way to delay delivery of the message or anything like that from Canvas. No.
Okay.
Unless they set it as a daily summary, then it will happen.
Okay, so I should tell them to have it a daily summary, like an hour before class or.
That's something they can do. Yes.
Okay.
Well, but daily summary, Canvas decides when to send that. They can't set a time to have that sent. Canvas sends that when it's not busy.
Oh.
Or when it's least busy. So they'll get it sometime during the day, but there's no guaranteeing exactly when it'll happen.
And what is this of course activities? What are all those? Are those
are all the events that can trigger a notification, an automatic notification from Canvas. And if you to see what each one of them means, you just mouse over it and it tells you what it means.
That's right.
There's a lot of them. So you certainly wouldn't want them all turned on. Your email would fill up in no time flat. Canvas can be very chatty. So but you get to control that.
I don't remember doing that in Blackboard.
Blackboard had the same capability. Yeah. Though it wasn't as well implemented, and it was extremely unreliable. Blackboard would sometimes ignore you.
There's a new Blackboard.
Canvas doesn't.
Do you know if the notifications from Canvas impact the storage limit on our email? My perception is that it does not. Is that correct?
Oh, no, they certainly do impact the storage limits on your district email.
Oh, well,
absolutely.
That's enormous information.
Yes,
conflicts with what I heard earlier.
That's why personally, I don't use my district email account. I have it as a secondary here, but I don't use my district email address generally as my primary in Canvas, because it fills up my district email. So I create I just use a Gmail account that I create, or a Yahoo account that I created specifically for that purpose, so that all of my Canvas communications end up in one account and by themselves. So there's nothing else in there except the occasional spam when they find you, despite your best efforts. So it's just your student messages and Viagra ads in there, and you can sort through the Viagra ads fairly easily.
I'd be interested to
rather
know
than having all that
we
mixed.
could have that. go to a
I'm sorry?
Gmail account. I'd be interested to know how we could have our Canvas notices transfer to a Gmail account instead of the district email.
Just
that would be very
add
useful.
just add an email address, right? Go to, sorry, let's go to your account and to the settings menu.
Right.
And then add an email address and put in whatever email address you want to use.
Right. So is that published to the students then?
No. Only you see that. And then register the email. Canvas will send an email to that email box to ensure that you're a human and not a bot. You click on a link, and then that email address eventually will become registered here.
So will it stop sending to the district account then when I have the new
Oh,
one?
you have to remove the district account later. You can remove an account by making it the secondary, not having it be the primary account. And I don't know why it's not letting me. There should be a little trash can next to it like that will allow you to remove the email address. I'm not sure why this is not showing up with my district email address here.
That's the problem that I had. I couldn't delete the district email, and I thought my perception was that there was some link between Canvas and the district email, and perhaps the fact that it's.
I'll look into that. I have deleted this in the past. I have it in there right now for another reason, but I've deleted that in the past. I'm not quite sure why. I'll find out what's going on there. They may have changed a permission in the system without.
Dave,
I wouldn't necessarily know. But that's something. Otherwise, you get them in the district email address as well. Though you could go in, you could minimize that by going into your notifications. And for the district email address, you can turn everything off. And Canvas will not send then to that, will not send any of this to that email address.
That was easy.
Oh, that was smart. Okay. Because I'd still like to have the alternative avenue for students.
Certainly you can. And you just add an email address in settings and go through the process. You can also set up, if there's something that's really critical that you want to get notified of immediately, you can add an SMS text message notification. I'd be very, unless you have an unlimited texting plan, I'd be very careful about that. But you could, again, you could set your notifications for the cell number to be very limited so that only certain really important things are sent to you that way. But that is a way that you can, get even more immediate notification of certain critical events.
Well, we do have our district office phones that will collect voicemail messages, and so I offer that.
No, this is SMS, text messages.
This is a text message. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Have to be a cell phone, in other words.
Yeah.
Or some, online service that can receive text messages. Yeah. And there has to be an email. Most cell services have an email address that you can send a text message to that will appear on your phone as a text message. And that the service has to have that because that's how Canvas sends the text to you. It actually sends an email to this email address, which is Verizon's. The way Verizon does it is just your phone number, including the area code at vtext.com. So if you have a Verizon phone, try it sometime. Send an email to your phone number at vtext.com, and it'll show up as a text message. It's kind of neat.
That's great.
Okay, and that's all pretty easy to set up, and we have tutorials showing how to do it. Now, let's move on to talk about the enrollment link for the new course. let me see. I keep meaning to save that somewhere. Find my email.
Dave, this is Walker. I got an email this morning about BB World. So there's a new Blackboard coming out now.
Not for us. Well, yeah, there is. Blackboard's putting out new services or new versions all the time, but that has nothing to do with us.
Okay, I was wondering because, like I said, I got the email. I'm like,
right. They may have your email on there from years ago.
Right. Okay.
I was waiting to confirm my grades for my completion of the information. Did I get out of the queue there, or are you moving?
I'm sorry. I'll be happy to go back to that in a minute. I've got these other two things in the queue right now, but definitely I'll do that again before we leave. And we're doing fine on time. Okay. Well, I've got to find that link here. I just sent that to somebody. There it is. All righty. The best way for me to give this to you is in the chat tool. Let me pull that up. I think I have that. Okay, here's the chat tool. And enrollment link for OFCP 2020-2021. And there's the link. That obviously going to have to be copied and pasted into a Word document or something. Remember that in addition to viewing it in the chat tool, and you can actually copy and paste this right out of the chat tool, but you can also save the chat log with that in it by going to the lower right-hand corner of the chat window and to the More menu. It's three little dots, an ellipsis, and if you click on that, there's a Save Chat option. That will save the chat to a folder called Zoom in your default Documents folder. And the folder will be named, and there'll be a subfolder in there named with today's date and the time we started this meeting, just before 10 o'clock. 2020, 6:30, 9:59, and 8 seconds. That's exactly when we started this. So you can find it. Here's your meeting saved chat. It's just a text file on a PC or a Mac. You can just double click on that file and you'll see the chat log, and that URL will be in it right there. You'll have to copy that out and paste it into your web browser to go there.
And Dave, that was enrollment for what? For what again? I'm sorry.
Enrollment for the next cohort of the training course, the 2021 training course. All right, we've done that.
Can I just open it directly from the chat?
I don't think so. I don't think it's clickable. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it is, absolutely. If you click on that, yeah, there it is. You sure can. I'd do that right now and just leave that open until you have time to fill it out.
Thank you very much.
You are certainly welcome. Okay, dashboard maintenance.
Before you go
well,
there,
of course,
Dave, I've lost you totally. I don't know how.
Oh, look at the bottom of the screen in your taskbar at the bottom. There should probably be a little Zoom icon, which is a blue square with a white camera in it.
I got it. Life is better. I'm back.
Click on that and you should be able to bring it back. Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Oh.
Okay, this is definitely going to be a case of do as I say and not as I do. because my dashboard is a frickin' mess. You can do better than this. To control your dashboard, you go to the courses icon just below the dashboard icon in the your global access menu here that's always on the left side of the page in Canvas.
Right.
Click on courses, scroll down to the bottom of your list, and at the very bottom of the list there will be a link for all courses. Click there. That gives you a link for all of your courses. It gives you a list of all of your courses, both current and past enrollments. Every course you've ever been enrolled in Canvas. If you want it to appear on your dashboard, click the little star next to it. That turns the star orange. That will now appear in your dashboard. If you don't want it to appear, unclick it. If it's already lit up, if the little star is already orange, you can turn it off. Just going to take a few out anyway. So the ones that are orange will show up. The ones that are not will not show up. Realize, however, that once you start this, you have to continue with it. That is, you have to keep maintaining it, because courses will not magically reappear. You'll have to go into on your dashboard. You'll have to go into your courses list and ask them to appear. But that's worth it. Then let's say, I don't think you have to. No, you don't have to save anything or anything like that. You just go back to the dashboard and it will have changed. You won't be able to tell much difference in mine. There's so many there. But yours, you can determine just exactly what appears on your dashboard. If you want to rearrange things on your dashboard, you can click and drag, of course, like so. You can move tiles around by clicking and dragging them. So that's how you manage your dashboard.
And then after that, you basically go to setting up a module. Or do you have to do something before the module?
Publish?
Well,
no. To start, that would be within a course. Here, we're not in any course.
Right.
We're just managing your dashboard, which is before you go into any courses. To start adding modules to your course, you'll have to go into the course. And there, to start adding modules, the sure thing is to just go to the Modules tool in the course menu. And there's an Add Module button up in the upper right.
Okay.
And you just give the first module a name and add it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank
Good
you,
question.
sir.
Okay, so that took care of dashboard management. Now I've got the next thing that someone asked for was a look at their submissions to make sure they'd submitted everything. Here's the, those things do move around sometimes. They're 2019, 2020. And let me bring up the Gradebook. I'll do that off screen so I don't share anything inappropriately. All right, I'm waiting on that. Who was it? Who was first and wanted to see if their submissions were there?
I'm in line, I guess, but I don't.
Oh, Georgia. Yeah, it was you.
I don't want to step in front of anyone else if there's someone
else. Oh, no,
else.
you were the last person to ask for that. All right, I've got yours up. Let me look. Yeah, not only is everything there, it all appears to have been graded.
Good for you.
Well, that's.
And it looks like you're golden.
Oh, good.
Because you're at, your quizzes are 100%, discussions at 96.8, and assignments are
We can
over.
still see that, Dave. I can see that.
Yeah, that's right. So you're golden.
I'm not worried.
Okay.
You have nothing to worry about.
I'm not worried.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Anybody else?
Well, I just have a question about not anyone's particular grade, but is there a way to see like a student's entire grade list? Because in Blackboard you could do that, but I wasn't able to figure that out in Canvas, so I didn't know if it was possible.
Yes, yeah, there's an individual view of the grade book. Let me pull up a course that has dummy grades in it. You should forgive the
dummy.
the dummy student.
Those dumb students.
And go to the grade book, and there's an alternative view of the grade book under the grade book menu here in the upper left.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You can go to individual view, and that shows you just one student's grades. You have to select the student, the test student. He has more grades. So there are his grades.
Okay.
There are not a lot of grades in there. Normally that list would be longer, but and it also shows you the final grade percentage. And you can select, and you can even step through the grade book one student at a time by going next and previous. And see that student's grade. So you can step through them pretty quickly and look at them individually rather than having to scroll across the screen in the grade book to see.
Okay. And is it also possible to look at just one, like for instance, with all the test students there, an assignment that had all of them where I want just that assignment because that was something I had difficulty.
You can filter the grade book display. Need to go back to gradebook view. And under view, the view menu, you have filters. And you can filter by assignment groups or modules, not by individual assignments.
Okay.
But like modules, you can, if you filter by modules, it gives you a box to choose which modules you want to see. If I want to see only the grades in module, let's see, why screencasting module, then it just shows me the columns for those. So I can cut down the number of columns I have to search through anyway.
But you can't do an individual assignment like you could in Blackboard.
No.
Okay.
But you can get pretty close to that, especially if you have assignment groups set. That's another good reason for creating assignment groups, is I can select all of my quizzes, for instance, and only see those.
Okay, but not the.
And if your assignment groups are granular enough, you can cut it way down. If you have a bunch of assignment groups with just a few assessments in each, then you can get even closer to what you want to do.
Is that how you weight the grades?
I'm sorry?
Is that how you weight the grades?
That you can weight grades that way. By default, what Canvas does in the grade book is it weights grades, assessments by the number of possible points you assign to them. Like this has 10 points, that has 10 points, this one 12, so this one's weighted a little heavier than that one. And by default, to compute the grades, what Canvas does is just add up all the grade points earned by the students for all the assessments, then add up all the possible points for all the assessments and divide the possible total into the student earned total and multiply by 100 for a simple percentage. That's conceptually the simplest way to weight grades in Canvas, and that's how it does it by default. But if you create assignment groups in your assignments tool, I've got it here somewhere, there it is. I have, just for the sake of example here in this course, I have created 3 assignment groups, one for my quizzes, one for my graded discussions, and one for my assignments. And I've lumped homework assignments, and I've lumped all the homework assignments together. You might have assignments with different grades, weights. You might have more than one assignment group for homework assignments, because some homework assignments may count more than others in your grading scheme. But you can have as many assignment groups as you need by just creating new ones here. And you can move entries between assignment groups just by clicking and dragging. Anyway, once you have your assignment groups set up and you have your different assessments segregated among the different assignment groups, you can go to this menu button, or up here in the upper right-hand corner of the Assignments tool, and you can select Assignment Groups Weight. And there's a checkbox here that allows you to weight your final grade not based upon the points possible in for individual assessments, but based on assignment group weights which you assign. So you just click that, and then you're given a list of all your assignment groups, and you get to type in the percentage weight that each assignment group counts for in your grading scheme. What that means basically is that everything in test will count the same. Each test will have the same weight, and the test average as a whole will accommodate, or will account for 25% of the course grade, as I have it set here.
Gotcha.
And discussions and assignments the same way. But again, you can have more assignment groups if you have more a more complex grading scheme than this very simple course here.
It's because my math lab does my homework separately, that program.
Yeah, right.
So can I?
So, and of course you can bring those My Math Lab assignments into your Canvas gradebook, and you can weight them here and have Canvas compute your final grades. And of course Canvas then does all the arithmetic for you. So while setting up assignment group weighting by assignment group is a little bit more complex on the front end, it's much easier in terms of the amount of thinking and soul searching you have to do.
So
it's particularly easier with tests, because it's very tricky to get a test to come out to exactly the number of possible points you want. If you're weighting by individual assessments, let's say the test, in order to fit into your grading scheme, has to have 50 points in it. Well, that means you have to make sure that the point values of the questions within that test add up to 50 points. And that can be tricky to do, tedious. Whereas if you weight by assignment groups, Canvas handles all that for you. Doesn't matter how many possible points there are for each assessment. Canvas treats everything as a percentage, and it just does all the percentages and the weighted averages for you and so on, and just does the computation. And I've never known anyone to say they caught Canvas in an error on that either. So you can be fairly confident it'll get it right. That's a good question. Or you can simply have Canvas add up the number of points And then you take that point value and you have done your grade cutoffs by points. So you have lots of options in the way that you weight grades in Canvas Gradebook and how you assign grades. All right, any more questions about finishing up tonight?
So if I'm not finished by 10, I should start saving everything, because that's how long it would take this, because those discussions are so long and hard to find.
Some of them are quite lengthy. So
like,
yeah, that's probably a pretty good idea. If you get to about 10 o'clock and you don't see yourself finishing, start backing things up.
Okay.
And go ahead and just use that link and send in a registration for the next one.
All right, but I will finish. I will finish. I will finish. I'll watch the videos like everyone said they are to do it. It's just, do I really need to watch them?
Okay. Good luck.
You can do it, Kathy. You can do it.
Yes, Kathy, you can do it.
Kathy, can you see
cheering
this?
session here.
Kathy, can you see this?
There you go.
I can. I will.
Go,
right.
Kathy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's great.
Great.
Who says you can't socialize on Zoom? Just takes a little ingenuity.
We are going to miss you, Dr. Dave.
Yes.
I'll be back on, I think the next one's on the 7th of July.
Okay.
There's not much point in offering classes over to the July 4th weekend.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you so much. I really appreciate what you did for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
You made it fun. You made it fun for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was an accomplishment.
Thank you.
A round of applause.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank
yes,
you.
yes.
And,
if you ever come to San Diego, come, we have very nice food. Arabic
boy.
restaurant here.
I love Middle Eastern food. Oh my gosh. I used to be the faculty advisor for the foreign student group at a college I worked at many years ago. And a lot of the students were from the Middle East, and we'd have dinners and things like that. That was amazing. Please email me if you have a question. If you get in the middle of something and you're not sure how to get out and you find yourself wasting time, let me know. Maybe I can get you over the hump quickly and allow you to move on. Again, I'm going to be out of pocket from about 12:30 until about 5 o'clock when I'll be able to see again. But I'll check my email as soon as I can see again, and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible.
Good luck. Okay? Good luck. And I hope everything
good luck, everyone.
Fine. Thank you.
And I still have a few minutes if anybody still has a question. I don't want to run away. Yes, Marlene.
Email address.
Know where I am on the list. Dave, I have 4 assignments that have not been graded. Should I worry about that or just
that haven't been graded? You said.
Right.
No, that's not unexpected at all.
Okay. All right.
As long as they're submitted, you're going to be fine. You're going to have a chance to, if there's a problem with one of them, you're going to have a chance to correct it and resubmit it. And the nice thing about Canvas is you can resubmit as many times as you need to. From a student point of view, it's a real nice feel. If you submit it and you realize, oh my God, I left one thing out, or something, you can resubmit again immediately after you correct that. And the instructor can't prevent you from doing that.
Okay.
In Blackboard, the instructor could. In Canvas, no. So this Canvas is much more student-centered in many ways than Blackboard, which is primarily why it was chosen as the learning management system for the largest single educational organization in the world. I don't know if you realize that or not, but the California community colleges represent the largest single educational organization in the world.
Dave?
Yes.
Quick question. I realize this course is ending, and I believe I signed up for the next round. I think the one that you provided the link for. And so my question is, because I dropped the ball, because I totally messed up, I think my dean is expecting me to finish this certification in order to get classes in the fall. Is it possible for me to finish this course up before the fall, or I mean, the one that's starting up?
Oh, of course, yes, certainly. This course has been finished, and this is going to really freak everyone, but this course has been finished in approximately 4 days, with a total of 8 hours of work.
Well, I don't think I'll be able to do that.
You're not going to do that. This was a long service online faculty member who taught online for years, who just wanted to see how fast she could do it. like the people who run the Appalachian Trail and things like that. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But for sure, you can complete this in that time frame. Not to worry.
I started last week and a half, and I'm almost finished. But I wanted to beat that record at 8, but I got caught up with the transcription. So, I mean, that's transcription, the subtitling.
Captioning.
Yeah, captioning, yeah.
Oh, and if you're still working on 2.7, if you go to our...
By the way, thanks, Dave.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I just said thanks, Dave.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. If you're working on the video and captioning assignment, if you go to our online tutorial site at sdccdolvid.org, it's at the bottom of every one of my emails. And in the search box, type in 2.7, press enter. Here's a step-by-step set of instructions with instructional videos on how to do it step by step, including editing your video captions on YouTube and submitting. So every step in the process of fulfilling assessment 2.7 in the online faculty certification course is here. And I'll put this link in the chat tool just in case somebody's still working on that one, because that has tended to take more time for everyone, and it's a shame because it's actually fundamentally one of the simpler ones, but it involves concepts that are brand new to a lot of people. So that's why and this is designed to try to alleviate that. This will show you how to record your video on your smartphone or on Zoom or using Screencast-O-Matic, and then how to edit, and in each case, how to upload to YouTube. And then here's how to edit your captions on YouTube.
Yeah,
and then how to submit it. Pardon?
They should get rid of that, because in the question, they have that sample guy, because that wasn't as helpful as what you just did. I wish I'd seen yours first, so.
Well, unfortunately, I only completed mine about a week and a half ago.
Oh.
These tutorials have been in there before, but they weren't collected like this, and I'm sorry. I was getting that ready for the next term, the next cohort, but you can use it now. It's still the same. So let me put that in the chat tool, if I can find the chat tool. There it is.
Yeah, and when I finish,
okay,
my subtitles.
Completing 2.7. Okay. All right. And that's in the chat tool. Anything else?
Nope.
I don't know if this is cheating, but I'm wondering if Kathy, if she only has like 3 to 6 left, could she just go through and submit something so that something has been submitted, even though she knows it's not complete?
And then I just fail it, and then because I think that might be better than having to do the whole thing over, because that'll just be.
Is that cheating? You see where my mind is devious.
But thank you. Yeah,
I think that's a question I'm going to choose not to answer.
Okay, then it's a hypothetical. If I see it's 10 o'clock and I'm really stuck on, like I'm on 6.3 now, I've done all the readings, and I think there's maybe 4 more, activities, which I should be able to do, but like, let's say I get, because it seems like everyone gets stuck on 6.12. I think I've seen it 3 different times, so I think I can do it, but just in case, if I send something which is incomplete with a lot of errors, I have the chance to redo it if I send it and I fail it.
Anything you have submitted, you will have a chance to resubmit without starting in the new course.
Okay, so if I just type one word.
Repeat that. I've said that several times. I'll repeat that.
So if I type one word, I say, oh my goodness, it's 11 o'clock. I've got 59 minutes and I don't think I can save everything. So I'll just
I don't know what would happen if an assignment were completely, if it had nothing to do with the assignment, if the submission had nothing to do with the assignment. I don't know what the grader would do, because like I said, there are going to be a dozen people grading before long.
Okay.
And each grader has different thresholds of what they'll put up with. So I can't guarantee you
sorry anything. And like, if I'm not completely the last, you just write the word sorry, we'll do later, or?
No, I don't think I'd do that. I'm pretty sure that would get you sent into the next cohort.
Just do your best, I think. I mean, you can, the last few parts, I will say, of 6, I was like, I gotta get through this. So I was moving along, is all I can say.
All right, thank you. Well, I better get going.
Let me see, is Georgia still there? Yes, you are. I just noticed a question you put into the chat tool. Do you have a list of attachment types that I can provide for my art students to embed images of their drawings into discussions? The safe bets would be JPEG, GIF, and PNG, Program Network Graphics.
That's from TechSmith, right?
No, that's a standard. It's used by a lot of people. PNG is fairly standard, yeah. But JPEG is ideal.
Yeah, that's the one I like. I think that HEIC might be a phone image. Have you heard of that?
Oh gosh, is that the new Google one? What was that? What was that again?
I don't know about it. It's like .HEIC.
HEIC.
Some of the successfully submitted assignments have come in with that. I wonder if I had the letters wrong. I'll have to.
Yeah, I believe that's the.
It may be a phone. HEIF.
HEIC, yeah, that's it.
I see. Okay.
It's a.
I mean, would it be safe for me to list that? The difficulty is if the student has a technical question, I can't field it. I have to send them to support.
Send them to support, yeah.
But that's interesting. So that
that's an Apple image format.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that one will work. But you said you've had submissions that did show up in the Speedgrader?
Yes. The
main worry, really the only critical concern, because Canvas will accept any image format. It just may not be able to display it in the Speedgrader, in which case you would have to download the file to your local computer and open it there. So it has to be a file format that you can open, or that Canvas can display in the Speedgrader. So if you have something that will open HEIC images, you're fine. And there appear to be a number of applications that will. The photo viewer in Windows will open it, apparently. So you should be good to go. It is, let me see if I can find out a little bit more about
these 3.
High efficiency image file format.
Is that what it stands for? Ah.
Yeah, a high efficiency image file. Developed by the MPEG group, Motion Picture Experts Group. And it uses about half the storage of an equivalent quality JPEG and can store more background information than an animated GIF. Interesting.
Am I allowed to require them to limit their images to JPEG?
I would say as long as it's something that you can handle, I wouldn't worry about it. But JPEGs, you know, almost anything, but it's possible they might have an application that would only export a file, image files in certain formats.
That's my concern, yeah.
Almost everything will handle JPEGs, but not, sometimes it takes a little extra work to get a JPEG out instead of whatever image file format the application prefers. So the more restrictions you place on the students, the more problems you will have, more questions you will have from students. So my inclination personally would be to let them do it in whatever format their application prefers. And if I ran into a format that I couldn't open, I'd get some help on that. Like in this case, I just was able to Google it and I found 2 or 3 applications right away that I could download for free that would show it. And that's the sort of thing we can help with as well. We're used to dealing with multiple file formats and things like that. I've got a history of background in media, both static, more video than static images, but a fair bit in static images as well. So I'll certainly be happy to help if you get something that you can't open.
That's great. The students in my courses submit images of their drawings to the discussion format, which means they're embedding them in the rich content. And if they
inline, that's what's called an inline image because it's going into a web page basically. And for that, you want GIF, JPEG, or PNG.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. Perfect. Inline image.
That's what's called an inline image in a web page. And that discussion post is done in, it's basically a web page. It's done in HTML, hypertext markup language. And hypertext markup language will only display images, or web browsers, I should say, will only display images within a web page if they are of certain image types. And again, JPEG, GIF, and PNG are the classics. There may be others now that are supported by some browsers, but not others. For instance, there's a Google format that only Chrome will display and things like that. So, but JPEG, GIF, and PNG are safe with all web browsers.
Okay, that's enormously helpful. Thank you.
You bet.
Dave, I just have one real quick question, then I'll
Sure.
When you were fooling around with fixing the dashboard, I was working on it on my desktop computer right next to my laptop. So anyway, I went in and my past enrollments fell off. They're still there, but they're not on my dashboard, which is nice, but I can still access those, right? If I want to copy from those.
Oh, absolutely. All you have to do is go to your courses.
Yeah. Because it's not allowing me back on the desktop.
Actually, I think you can, in some cases at least.
Yeah, I
think I've got, here are some past enrollments.
Yeah.
Nope, it won't let me add them back.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. But I still
now, I've got some that are already in there.
Okay.
But
yeah, those fell off when
if I take them off, I can't put them back. You're right.
Okay. But I can still access them, right?
Oh yeah, you could get into them from here.
Okay, cool. That's all I need to know. That makes my desktop nicer anyway. Thank you.
Oh, doesn't it though?
Yeah, my dashboard, I mean, my dashboard. Okay, thank you. Thank you for all of your hard work on this. Amazing.
Oh, you're so welcome. This is just fun.
Well, I can tell. Love it. Yeah.
Not difficult for me. Anybody else? I've still got a few minutes.
Yes, Dave, it's Randy.
Hey, Randy.
I got a question. I have not yet, but I'm going to today or tomorrow sign up for the online faculty certification program. I've done nothing, but I'm going to sign up for it today or tomorrow. But in looking at what you guys have been doing here, I am so damn lost, you won't believe it. So what happens when I get into that program and I get stuck and I'm all here alone and have no help? What the heck do I do?
Okay, to get help, you'll go to your Canvas, go into Canvas,
okay,
and go to your inbox tool, which is your messaging tool. Over here in the gray bar on the left. It's always there. Click on that. And there's here's your compose a message icon. It's a little pencil and a square.
Yes, sir.
Click on that and select the training course, the online faculty certification program course.
Okay.
That's this one.
Well, in my case, it would be the 2021, yeah.
I was going to say, it's the next one. You're right.
Okay.
And then to select recipients, go to the little recipients icon here.
All right.
And select teachers.
Okay.
And then all teachers, all in teachers. That will send to every instructor in there, and there are like 12 of them in there by now.
Okay.
Then you've got a subject, then it's just an email. It's a subject line and a message. Describe the problem you're having as completely as possible, including which assignment you're working on and so on. And then send it, and all the instructors in the course will see that.
All right.
And whoever gets to it first should reply. And I'll see that as well.
I'm scared to death.
To get started, because the course will look a lot like this. Actually, let me go into that one, that particular one. We'll take a look at it. I believe I have that on my dashboard somewhere. There's the new one. Okay. It's very similar to what it was before. Read the, right here is your directions on how to begin. Read the announcements, and you can click on that link and the announcements will come up. Actually, the last 3 announcements are up here at the top of the screen anyway. Then read the welcome letter, which describes the course, and the syllabus, which also gives more detail. But to actually begin, and these 3 should answer most of your questions about how to get started.
Okay.
Once you get ready to go, you just click here where it says begin module 1, and there's no problem with just clicking on that to go look at it. You can always go back and forth. And here, with these modules, basically what you do is you start at the top and you work your way toward the bottom. And there will be, and notice, they took my advice. Notice all the modules are open now, so you don't have to, you're not going to get stuck because you had a problem with something in module 1. You can't move ahead to module 2 and wait for help on the other. You can go anywhere now. Good. So you start at the top. Read that. Then there's a next button at the bottom of the screen. Go to the next one. Keep going. And at some point you'll be asked to do something. You do it at that point. And they should give you both textual and video directions in most cases on how to do the next thing. And you just keep working your way down the modules. And when you get to the bottom, you're done. So there's never any worry about what to do next. All you have to do is go back to the modules link in the, and you won't see all of these things here. Some of this has been hidden from students. In this course, you are a student, and you have the role of student in this course. So you won't see some of these things, and you don't need to. But you can always go back to your modules, figure out where you were, start up again, and on some of these pages, it's all reading. Others, there are videos or links to resources that you may need. But just work your way down the page. You generally don't have to click on every link if you don't need it right there. Just remember that they're there, and if you need that information later, you can come back to it. Like, here's how to get support. Here are your support numbers that you can call. 24/7, 365.
I lost you.
I'm sorry? Did you? Well, it looks like you've frozen up. Sorry about that. Now you're moving again.
There you go.
Are you seeing where I am?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. Yeah, Zoom just seized up for a second. Sorry. But anyway, you just work your way down each page, and then go to the next page, and just keep going, and do what you're asked to do. A lot of this is just informational. And you don't have to click on every link as you go along. Get the main details, move on. You can always come back to these if you need to, like if you need the Canvas guides later, you can always come back to this page and click on that link, and that will take you to the Canvas video guides.
Okay.
So there's a ton of information. If anything, there's too much information. You'll never lack for information about how to do what they want you to do. This is just showing you how to get help when you need it. You don't have to click on every one of these links right now. And they try to keep you moving along. So almost all the information you need is right on each page. And if you have questions about something, you've got that inbox tool. So
okay.
It's designed to be as self-directing as possible, but we realize that you will have questions, and that's why there are instructors in there with you. We're supposed to be doing more than just grading. We're supposed to be helping you along. So don't hesitate to ask for help.
All right.
So it's something that takes some time, but it's not rocket science generally, except maybe the video. No, even that's not rocket science, I promise you. And we do have resources for you that will show you how to do it. But we realize that no instructional tutorial is perfect. Anybody who makes one unconsciously makes certain assumptions. And those assumptions are not always correct. So don't hesitate to ask questions when there's something that's not clear to you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but what you're learning is important in this, because it has a lot to do with how effective you can be as an online instructor. And suddenly we don't have any options for, other instructional modalities. We're limited to this because of the environment we're in right now. So the better we are at it, the more our students will benefit from it. And that's the bottom line after all.
All right, I'll start working on it, and I'll be back in your Tuesday session again too.
Great. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of the same stuff we did today on Tuesday. And I'll start off by doing just exactly what I did for you there.
All right.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Take care, man. And remember, when you do that inbox, I'll get it too.
Okay.
All right. So.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. All righty. I'm sorry. I'm about to have to go risk my life to go to a doctor's appointment. Hopefully I'll still be here next week, and I'll see you then. Y'all have a great time, and good luck if you're still working on this. Bye-bye.